Grand Park has been a leader in the mountain pine bark beetle mitigation efforts in Grand County since the beginning of the epidemic. The bug's effect has been devastating and can be seen throughout the state. We had a chance to take a winter tour with developer Clark Lipscomb and discuss his insights and their visionary approach to the pesky bug.
I mean, the pine beetle, when it was happening, you could see it exponentially growing year after year after the big drought. And, you know, it started small. We sprayed one year, sprayed about 800 acres and 8 inches and greater trees. We came back the next year, and all of those trees were protected and didn't get hit. But what happened was a lot of our smaller trees that were supposed to be not susceptible or not attractive to the beetle were hit. So that was pretty evident to us that spraying and dealing with the amount of chemical we were dealing with didn't make sense. And then the other concern that we had was, you know, what are the long-term environmental implications of spray? Because, you know, look, it's the least toxic of all the chemicals, but it's still, it's a pesticide. So we weren't very comfortable going down that road. And it was very clear to us that this was inevitable. You're not going to stop it. And so rather than try to stop it, just go attack it head on and let the forest regenerate itself. The forest regenerates itself. It's a natural thing. And Mother Nature was doing her work. And hopefully we've helped along the way here in terms of mitigating this and giving Grand Park a jump start on its regeneration. You know, I look at the forest as one of these things as a renewable resource. And one of the problems, and one of the reasons the pine beetle got so bad was that it hadn't been managed. And, you know, either fires need to burn or it needs to be mechanically managed in the fashion this was done. So, you know, you can see the results here, and I think it looks pretty good. The state of Colorado hasn't seen a tree problem of the extent of the pine beetle like this ever. I mean, we're going to have a 90% mortality of our mature lodgepole pine. And in that respect, this was something that nobody had really dealt with before. And when we first started out, there was a big learning curve. So we learned a lot, and we adjusted our game plan and kept modifying things, et cetera. And I think we really have gotten it down now where we have it pretty fine-tuned, and having really good crews have helped us to do that. But at the same token, it's been an adjustment as we've gone. When we first started out this project, we were cutting much bigger trees, and lo and behold, the pine beetle came back and got the small ones that were left. So, you know, again, it was just making those adjustments as we went and understanding better what the pine beetle was going to leave behind, the stuff that we're standing around here, and what they weren't. Quite a bit of this wood is in houses now. Went to a sawmill for studs in Montrose. Our local post and pole yard buys a lot of wood from us. And then we've sent stuff to firewood companies in the Front Range and pallet makers, and just a whole host of different sources to utilize these dead trees as much as possible, which has been a good thing. And one of the reasons we hired our own guys was so that they could go in and take the time to really be sensitive about, hey, let's be as careful as we can about the trees that are alive. They're like gold to us, and take out just the dead trees. In doing so, it'll allow us to ensure that all of those smaller, younger, healthier trees stay in there. At the end of the day, we learned a lot. We, I think, have done this in a fashion that's a little different than some of the other loggers typically do things. And I think it's a good model for possibly the state to look at in terms of how the other areas that are now dealing with this problem are addressing how to mitigate for pine beetle. The good news for Grand County is it's behind us. A lot of landowners, a lot of homeowners have dealt with the problem on their property. And a lot of the communities that are not in Grand County are now facing the same issues that we've been dealing with for the past 5 years. From my perspective, that's a really great thing for Grand County.